Now, I hope that you consider yourself to be a bit of a cheese connoisseur, because if what I've heard about today's best of 3 series is true, especially game number 1 is supposed to be a spicy one. So I'm excited to figure out what ends up going down here. Now, you may be wondering, Lowko, what is your favorite type of cheese? Is it camembert? Is it brie? Is it parmesan? Is it cheddar? I think over the years, over the last decade or so, I've really developed a taste for Protoss. Spotting here in the bottom right-hand corner of Romanticide and playing with the blue Protoss probes, we have none other than Astrea, of course, from the United States of America. His opponent in the opposite corner with the red Protoss pieces, widely considered to be the strongest Protoss player on the planet right now. We're looking at Trap's main Nexus. Alright, so here we go. Now, for a little while, it was difficult to say who the best Protoss player in the world was, but I think, despite the fact that Trap did not have the best IAM Katowice results, I think it's safe to say that he is still considered to be the best Protoss player on the planet. I mean, the man has absolutely dominated over the last couple. Did he just go Nexus first? Ooh, okay. So a spicy start right here from Trap, actually. But he's been looking very strong, especially over the last couple of months. Astrea, though, scouts right now that his opponent went for a Nexus first. Pylon right here on top of the ramp. He's going to see the timing right there of the gateway as well. He hasn't actually started up his own Nexus just yet on the low ground. I heard of this. So the rumors are true, huh? So here it is. There's a Nexus that Astrea just built inside of the main base of Trap. I don't know if Astrea has been in contact with a fellow American by any chance who goes by the name of Florencio, but I mean, this is reminding me of some of those cheesy build orders. Okay, so let me get this straight. He saw that his opponent went for a Nexus first, then he decided to plant down his own Nexus on the opponent's ramp. So obviously this is not going to be wallable anymore, right? It's going to be very difficult to get that properly set up. Then he's going to be going for a forge right now at home. He's already got a pylon done over here as well. Trap desperately chrono boosting out a zealot at this point. Alright, so if he manages to kill that pylon, that's nice and all. I mean, that's gonna, I guess, like, he doesn't really have too much intel at exactly what's gonna be happening here, right? So I guess he's got a scout over there in the base, so he sees that his opponent took 1 gas right here in total, but there's no mining there at all. You know what? I've seen this before, actually, in Florencio's games. He's now rallying, Astrea that is, he's now rallying zealots towards the line over here, and he's recalling all of those units towards the other side. So now all of a sudden, they're inside of the main base. Astrea at the same time is setting up a whole lot of photon cannons. The same can be said, though, for Trap. This one over here is for Trap, so there's a whole lot of chaos going on, but judging by the fact that this one over here will end up getting surrounded, and Astrea is finishing up his own cannons right here inside of the main base of his opponent. He's fighting probes with probes after recalling them to the other side of the map. I mean, this Nexus here on the low ground is nice and all, but there's absolutely no way that Trap ends up defending that. Wonderful. Alright, so very explosive start in this best of 3 series. I don't know if Astrea started that game off with the intention of going for a proxy Nexus. I don't think so. He probably had it in the back of his mind, though, where he knew that Trap every once in a while decides to go for a Nexus first. I mean, we see a lot of single gateway expense these days in Protoss versus Protoss. And obviously, if it's not a double gate, it's relatively safe to go for a Nexus on the low ground because the shield battery changes. It's become less and less common to go for the double gateway opener. So, bit of a gamble there from Trap. And Astrea looked at it and he's like, wait a second. I could go ahead and spend my 400 minerals right now on planting down my own Nexus and just play a macro game. But I kind of like what he did there. Already, though, look at Trap here. Going for a very, very quick scout. He does not want to be caught right here with something cheesy once again. Alright. Does he even click on it? He didn't even click on it. Alright. I guess seeing the timing right there of the scouting probe is all he really needs to do. Yeah, he's going to see the timing right here of the gases as well, so it's going to tell him everything that he needs to know. Now, I believe I said it in the previous game. Trap has looked very, very strong, especially over the last couple of months. So, when it comes to, like, Terran and Zerg, there have always been players that seem to be like head and shoulders above the rest. I mean, right now it's maybe a little bit difficult to say because there's a couple players that look really good, but I would say that it's relatively safe to say right now that Trap is considered to be the strongest Protoss player on the planet. I mean, for a while, Protoss was just not winning any premier tournament. Like, Protoss was just not winning anything for like a year and a half or so, which is, you know, not great. Now, just to put that in perspective, Trap over the last couple of months, he has won the GSL Super Tournament, over stats in the grand finals back in December. Then he also won a GSL Super Tournament in January over Zone in the grand finals. And then in January as well, he also won DreamHack Last Chance over Serral in the grand finals. I mean, Serral especially doesn't lose any Protoss versus Zerg. Trap used to not have the best PvZ at all, so that used to be like his weak matchup. So there's no denying that Trap has looked very, very dominant. Now, I would be more confident in saying that he's the strongest Protoss player on the planet if it wasn't for his IEM Katowice result, but regardless. Did he see that? Oh, he did not. Okay, so that Stargate for now is unscouted. Anyways, even though he didn't have the best IEM Katowice, Trap is still looking ridiculously strong. Now you can see kind of what I was talking about over here, right? So it's going to be single gateways right here for both players. Because of this ramp that's leading down here, it's relatively easy to defend the high ground here, especially with a shield battery if your opponent decides to get aggressive. So this is a map where you theoretically could go Nexus first as well, because the odds of your opponent going for a, a one gateway expo are relatively high. You can see right now, if you're going for a later expo, this kind of problem happens, right? So we saw Trap already blocking over here with a pylon. We saw the same happening on the other side of the map as well, I believe. And then, right now the probe got killed there by the Adept. This is already a little bit of a problem. How many worker kills is this guy gonna get? Or this girl? A third one, maybe? Yeah, think so. Yep, nicely done. Actually, 4. 4 in total. Alrighty. Oh, I think it must have been a scouting worker over here inside of the main base. So a good start right here for Trap. I'm assuming that Stargate did get scouted, yes. So he knows right now, Astrea that is, that there are indeed gonna be Stargate units out. Already though, he's gonna go for the Blink upgrade pretty early on here, which I like quite a bit. Shield battery inside of natural. I mean, it's just a Zealot at this point trying to look menacing. He's like, okay, no chance you're gonna get any damage done, Mr. Oracle. I'm a Zealot, my life for ire. Look at him. What a hero. The hero we all deserve. Either way, though, that's quite a few probe kills. A little bit of miscontrol there. Ay, ay, ay. Significant amount of miscontrol. A little bit of greed. So this is North America going up against South Korea, so, one player is going to have bad ping. It's a little bit unfortunate. Wouldn't be surprised if they're taking turns in this particular series, where one game they'll be playing on the Korean server, and one game they'll be playing on the American server. Kind of depends. Usually they try and find the best middle ground, or they take turns between the favorite servers. And with these big online tournaments, right, it sucks, but there's no way at this point that we could be doing offline events where everyone has the similar amount of ping. The reason I bring it up is because that Oracle micro over here, right, it may very well, like, it's such a tight call, it may very well be affected by ping. Astrea, by the way, very, very strong Protoss player as well. He ended up winning the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters Winter North America. It's a bit of a mouthful, but he ended up winning that over Neep in the grand finals back in November. So if you haven't heard of his name just yet, I mean, maybe you're more of a casual StarCraft 2 viewer, or you haven't had a whole lot of time to watch. He's a relatively new name in the StarCraft community. And, well, I mean, considering he's taking games and series off of the best players from North America, there's no denying that you want to keep him in mind, right? So sometimes it happens that pro gamers are around for a while and they sort of seem to, like, stagnate, right? That's very common. So if you are familiar with, for example, Neep and Scarlet, I mean, they're very good at the game as well, but Astrea seems to be actively improving and actually getting better. So would not be surprised at all if Astrea is going to be considered to be the best player from North America, by the end of 2021. Anyways, we have a Blink Stalker approach right now. Now, despite the fact that Trap, opened up with that Stargate, he already transitioned very quickly right here into an Immortal. 10 workers in total were killed, though, in this particular match so far by Trap, and that's a very high amount. Once again, 2 Adepts apparently snuck away. They're going to be phenomenal here. That force field's not going to go up in time, so these Adepts are going to be able to sneak into the base. There's still some fighting over here going on at the front. I do not like the situation here at all. Now, I guess a force field there is going to help out a little bit, but that's, once more, a lot of workers that end up going down. Astrea is starting to fall behind very significantly, plus this is now forcing a bunch of warp-ins at home. And if you're the one being aggressive, right, this is where you want to have those warp-ins actually happen. Glaives follow-up at this point from Trap as well. So he goes Stargate, into Robo, into Glaives, and then a whole bunch of gateways. Nice game so far here by Trap. Much favoring this situation for him right now, though. Even though Astrea isn't that far behind when it comes to the supply count, I'm liking this sophistication here in the army a whole lot better, right? I mean, Immortals absolutely shred all of those Stalkers to bits. Unless you can blink all of the Stalkers right on top of it, it usually isn't ideal. Now, once again, we saw 2 Adepts moving across the map. They snuck out. They're gonna go and once again kill whatever they can find. Yeah, this is, like, pretty much unwinnable, I would say, right now. If you're, well, I mean, not quite, I guess. If there's, like, a really significant mess-up, then maybe, but at this level of play, it really shouldn't happen. It depends on what Trap wants to do, right? So judging by the fact that he added on a lot of gateways, I don't think he wants to expand here anytime soon. Usually we see expansions going up. Third base is not uncommon anymore at all. Now, this is a nice little probe scout over here. It's gonna see that all of the units are ready to march across. Ooh. Okay, it's gonna get an observer over there too, and these Stalkers, I mean. Unless you can get the Prism. Okay, I was gonna say, if Trap gives you the Prism for free, that makes things way easier. But, like, there's about as many Immortals as there are Stalkers here, right? One thing, though, that you can always come back with, yeah, I love this. There's gonna be a Disruptor right here for Astrea, and there's a whole lot of static defense coming up. These units can blink over the wall just fine, obviously, and he's gonna be able to wall himself in, which is quite nice. The only problem is that Immortals, yes, they're good against Stalkers. They're also very, very good, though, against Structures, right? And since the things aren't done yet, I mean, there's one Disruptor. Can he get some damage done? Ooh, okay, gets a couple of those Adepts, but I don't think it's quite enough. Obviously, the Adepts can always shade forward as well for some more responses. Good force fit over there, though. One thing that these, oh, actually, oh god, okay. I was gonna say, one thing that these photon cannons are forcing right now is Trap to not really go juggle all too much, but glaives are done. And since the photon cannons here are underpowered, oh, can he pick up? Oh, massive detonation, actually. Did not quite pick up, but I'm looking at the supply count. I don't think it matters. No, I don't think it does. Just too many worker kills. Way too many worker kills. GG. Alrighty, so even though it feels like I only just now started casting, we already find ourselves in the final map of today's best of 3 series, and it is gonna indeed take place on Death Aura. Now, since I've been blabbering onwards about the players for quite some time, let us actually have an in-depth look at the game, okay? Let's actually talk about the game. This is crazy. So I'm trying to remember all of the games that I've seen of Protoss versus Protoss in this particular map, and I think that pretty much all of them have been double gateway expands. Would not be surprised at all here. So a bit of a different pylon positioning, but most of the time what we see in Protoss versus Protoss, even to this day, depending on the maps though, but what we see most of the time is a double gateway expand. So usually the way it works is you go for a pylon, then you go for a gateway, then you go for one gas, second gas, while constantly producing as many probes as you can. You want to make sure that you take that gas before your opponent can steal it, right? Which is why Astrea has already taken it. And then after the second gas, usually you go for another gateway and then the Cybercore as soon as this thing finishes up. Now look at Astrea over here. He's scouting around. He's like, wait a second, you're very early on that probe scout. Are you cannon rushing me here by any chance? But no, there's no pylons over here. There's the second gate. Nicely done. Same on the other side of the map as well. And now we're going to slowly see those probes trickle into the gas geyser. Now it's a bit awkward. You can see right here, it's only 2 out of 3 on one and then 0 out of 3 on the other. There's the Cybercore. Cybercore as well on the other side. There we go. Yeah, and this is about as standard as we see in Protoss versus Protoss right now. Now, one downside of going for an early scout is that sometimes your opponent can trick you. So, Astrea is planting down a pylon on the other side of the map with his scouting probe. This is completely unseen here by Trap. So Trap right now is looking around the main base of his opponent. He knows that there needs to be a second pylon out there somewhere. And in a way, this always feels a little bit weird to me whenever I try to explain it. But in a way right now, Trap, he knows that his opponent likely has a pylon out there somewhere on the map. And because of that, he will probably try to play a little bit more safely himself, because there's a good chance that his opponent is cheesing. However, since Astrea knows, that Trap knows, that there is a pylon missing, it may very well trigger Astrea to just go and expand behind this himself, because he knows that his opponent is likely going to be playing safe, and therefore it's safe for him to expand. Does that make any sense at all? I mean, that makes sense in my head. But yeah, look, it's just a pylon, right? It's just a pylon, and it's going to force Trap to be slightly more defensive. So he's going to go for a couple Stalkers. It's nothing too crazy. Third pylon has been spotted. Right now there's a couple of Adepts out as well. But basically what I'm trying to say right now is that it's pretty safe for Astrea to go expand behind this if he wants to. And the same can actually be said right now for Trap. So in a way, going for a proxy pylon can be a macro build. So Trap is looking around right now, making sure that there's no shenanigans here, right? Making sure that there's not like a Stargate, right? This is the most common location for a Stargate proxy. Making sure that there's not going to be a Stargate on his side of the map. He's decided, though, to go for the Nexus, and you can see the same right now on the other side of the map. So, in a way, Proxy Pylon, it's a macro build. Okay, Sentries here as a follow-up. We already saw a couple Sentries here coming up for Astrea as well. The reason, by the way, in case you're wondering, why are there probes patrolling here? Why is there a probe just hanging out? One thing you always have to be worried for in this particular matchup is shades of these adepts going into your base. So if you get these adepts over here, and then you shade into the main base of your opponent, you know, you can start two-shotting the probes like we saw previously, right? That's not a situation you want to be in. So having a probe on idle usually is the safer choice, just to complete the wall off, because if you have a complete wall off, the shades can't go through. Now this is a little bit awkward though. Nah, actually, I thought for a second that Astrea has sent out all of his units, but he's just scouting here. Nah, he's got more than enough. So, shield battery here on the low ground. It's one of the advantages right here of that pylon in that position. So, you can see right here, Trap went for the more classical approach right here of the pylon position. The reason why this one is quite nice is that it's still difficult to reach, right? If you're pushing through this choke. And the advantage here is that you can power this the shield battery on the low ground without needing a pylon on the low ground, right? So, right now, for example, if Trap wants to go for a shield battery over here, he can plant it down in this location or right over here, but then obviously Astrea can pop in and just kill the pylon and unpower everything. So there's some very subtle moves here that are being made in this particular matchup. All the roads apparently, though, are leading towards the same strategy, as both Trap and Astrea right now are gonna go for the blink. Third Nexus coming up for Astrea. Even just a year ago, man, we never saw third bases in Protoss versus Protoss, it felt like. Well, not never, but like very seldomly. Okay. So I'm liking this quite a bit, though, here for the North American Protoss player so far. It's really good. Like, what exactly are you going to do here if you're Trapped? So he decides to go for the Robo facility here before heading on over, I think, to the third base. Yeah. So third Nexus now has been scouted as well. Robo here at a bit of a different order, so all the roads apparently lead to Rome. We have a similar approach here, it's just that the order is slightly different. So we see the +1 ground weapons upgrade here for Trap a little bit sooner than his opponent. Astrea, though, is going to favor the faster third base instead, and I think it's fine, to be honest. If you know what your opponent is doing right, and that's obviously why you get yourself those sentries out. You can hallucinate phoenixes and scout out exactly what you're doing, or what your opponent is doing, rather. You can decide how safe it is to expand, and I don't really see a whole lot that Trap could go ahead and do right now to try and punish Astrea for this quick third base. 6 additional gateways, though, have come up here. It's going to make a grand total of 8. 8 is the standard number. Having 8 is just a good amount. You can see here, I mean, the shield battery, it's going to finish up before Trap could go for a push. Battery overcharge is going to keep this Protoss Nexus nice and healthy. And I think Astrea should be more than okay here. Alright. So, charge is a follow-up right now as well. Apparently this is the moment where Trap has decided, okay, it's time to go for a bit of a move out. He didn't actually decide to go for his own observer until just now. Okay, so that observer came out a little bit late now. I like this. Those adepts that we saw coming out of the gateways as the very first units, they have moved across. So a couple stalkers here immediately returned. At the same time, in the top right-hand corner, they're also ready to go. These are Trap's adepts this time, right? So he's going to try and move on over towards his opponent's third base. Just going to hang them out there for now. And I know some Protoss players are looking at this and they're wondering, Lowko, how in the world are they controlling all of this, right? How can you do this if you're using the all army hotkey? Spoiler alert, you can't. I know the F2A move meme, you know, is you know, a bit of a joke, but there's no denying that there's a lot of Protoss players out there that do exactly that. Terran and Zerg players as well, for what it's worth. But yeah, if you want to win a lot of these games, you got to try and have multiple control groups just to easily control all of this. They're going to commit, I think. They should. Yeah. Get a couple worker kills. Nicely done here by Trap. Okay, that's a little bit awkward. One stalker following around a half dozen of them. Well, actually, that's about a dozen. You see Trap now going for the Templar Archives. It's going to allow him to go for Archons. Additional gateways here for the Zealot Warpins here too. I'm liking Astrea's position though, right? He's got himself a very healthy amount of army. He's going to go for the 4th Nexus right now too. Trap sees this, which once again could become a bit of a problem. He doesn't actually see that the, oh god, the opponent is moving out right now as well. So he gets a little bit of, I think he gets caught off guard just a little bit. Astrea, though, takes a very, very nice advantage over here. Snipes a bunch of his opponent's units for basically free. Trap apparently was thinking, okay, well, there's a 4th base. I don't really need to worry all too much. But all of a sudden right now, Astrea is standing at his front door. There is no shield battery over here in the natural, okay. Astrea's going to go into the main base, though. He doesn't really care about the natural. He's just trying to keep his army here at bay. Can he warp in instead of the main base here of the opponent? I think that's what you want to do. There we go. Massive warp in right now. 8 Zealots joined the fray. And right now, I mean, this is some brilliant zoning here. Astrea force fields Trap outside of his 3rd base. Zealots over here in the natural are just derping around. I feel like they could get some damage done, but it doesn't matter because the main base has already been sliced up. And just like that, Astrea ends up winning a best-of-3 series with one freaking Proxy Nexus cheese over one of the very best Protoss players on the planet. I hope you enjoyed watching this series. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. Now, if you're interested in other games other than StarCraft 2, check out my 2nd YouTube channel. You can head on over to moreloko.com, which I registered a couple days ago. It should work just fine, but you can head on over to moreloko.com for an overview of all of the different playlists that are available on that channel. And obviously, there's also a link to the YouTube channel down below in the description of this video. For now, though, thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.